So another major extension I've done right here is actually I've tried to clean up the code a bit and start looking at columns, right? So now we have the folders right here, and then we want to bring those into columns, right? So this is the first column, folder 1, and this is kind of the information that we can click. And then we'll go, if I click, for instance, this guy, click, it'll go to folder 2, and that'll again show some data. And if I click this guy, it will show up folder 3, right? But if I click this guy, it would actually show the details of the image. Now, that's kind of the goal. Now, each of these guys now a column, right? So now we have 3 levels right here. We have the folder, we have the details, and then we have a column, and it's all wrapped inside the bigger one, who is the collection, right? So now we have four components that kind of work as our final structure right here. And yeah, that's the way I want to do it, right? So that's the way I want to build this. Let's have a look at the code again. Now there's a lot of changes in this code, and I don't want to run over all of it because most of it is just changing the flex layout to kind of look like I wanted it right here, because there's no functionality yet. You cannot click anything, nothing will happen, it's all hard coded. But I think one of the things I want to kind of dive into is the way that we now added some kind of a new interface right here called a column. Now a column represents one of these guys right here, and either this is the column with files and folders, or it's a column with file details like this. So we kind of have a way now to say a column always has a display name, right? Now the display name is what I show up here, folder 1, folder 2, and then maybe Funny Day at the Beach or whatever the file is right here. So this is going to be parent folder name, or in this case it's actually going to be the details for the actual image I just picked right here. So I had 2 types of columns, so I extend the plain old column interface here into 2 different interfaces, one called the file column that has file information, and a folder column that has folder information right here. Now, again, this is just extending a column, so it's nothing complex either. But what I can do now is pretty awesome, because that means that when I create a new file container right here, I can just add a list of columns inside the container, right? So now the container can have a list of X columns, and it'll just place them here one at a time, right? Pretty awesome stuff. Now, then what I'm doing in the constructor, I'm just hard coding a lot of values right now. Here I have the first column, then I have the second column, right? And then I have, if every time I make a column, I just push it into the columns list, and I just keep going. And then I have a file column, and just put that into the list, right? And now I could just, if I wanted to, I could just keep pushing columns. Let me just try and show you. I'll just push the same columns a lot of times right here, and you'll start seeing a structure that extends dynamically right here. And if I have too many, it'll just start adding a scroller right here, right? So this is just a way that my column structure will now work in the code. Now the final thing that I want to show you guys is the actual, let me just clean this up again, is the actual column, because that's actually not complex either. So jumping into the column, it's pretty much just saying a column right here just has either details for a folder or details for a file, right? Depending if it's a file column or a folder column. So let's just jump into the code, because here's a small hack I kind of made. I think it's a hack anyway. I say if a column, which can be generic, it can be any type, right? When I send this into my file system column here, it can be either a folder or file column. I'm just saying try to convert it into a file column, and if there's a URL, it's probably a file column, right? I know it's kind of a hack. I might have to say if it's a file like this, or if there's something called a file like this, then it's probably a file column, right? Or else it's a folder column. Again, there are other ways to kind of check this. This is just the best way for me to kind of check it when I only have interfaces available. I don't have classes, I'm using interfaces. Okay, so that's it. That's all I had to do. Now we kind of have made this setup right here. I might also want to mention that right now the HTML is very simple now for the container. All the container does right now is just run over all the columns inside the list of columns and just add the column inside the file system column. So now we kind of have a full setup right here. And I know there's a lot of code that was changed, but again, nothing in here is new. It's all stuff you know. It's all about adding inputs and working with components that works together. Nothing new here. So that's why I kind of just wanted to make this final video right here, where we just have the full setup now. And next we're going to start working with Firestore and Firebase and Fire Storage, and we're going to make this work together with actual files and folders. So see you in the next lesson, where we'll have some awesome, amazing fun, and I hope you guys can figure out all this code. See you next time, have fun.